Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to my second live stream of the day. I guess I have a lot to say today because I am back, and I have an interesting topic that I want to talk to you guys about today. I first heard about this a couple of days ago. I didn't make much of it at first, and then I had a little bit of time to kind of noodle it while I was in the car today. I jumped online, I did some research. I was like, you know what? I am going to go live and I am going to talk about this. And so we are going to get into it in just a moment. And I'm also going to show you guys some books because I like to show books when I do these live chats versus just having me ramble on about whatever topic. So I'm going to actually show you guys a couple of books. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So let me get caught up with the chat here and see who's all here. Jacob Morgan is the first in the room. How you doing, Jacob? It's good to see you. I think it's Chu. I think that's how you pronounce it. He says that he finally made it to the live stream from the other side of the world, and he is actually or he's in Singapore, or from Singapore. So Chu, I think that's how you say it. Welcome to the chat. It is good to have you here in the live stream. Tony Sanders is in the house. Yes, RB3. This is our second time of being live today, and Chris Barrett has been part of both conversations. So welcome, Chris, and then also Clement. Someone giving away $1 billion smackers. Brian is in the house. How you doing, Brian? And Omega Comics is in the house. How you doing, bro? It's good to see you. So welcome to the live chat, everybody. This is indeed the second one of the day. The first one was relatively brief, and I don't know how long this one will be. But I first heard about what I'm calling the superfluous use of adjectives a couple of days ago. I think Comic Books NYC told Whitewell about it. Whitewell sent me a message about it, and at the time I had not heard about it, but I was like, you know what? Let me do a little bit of research and let me look into this issue to see like what the deal is. And I'm glad that I did because it's interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, Candygram man, I am back, bro. So I have spent a lot of time in recent weeks talking about competition, right? Competition with grading companies. And I don't really bash grading companies, right? That's not really my thing, but I do kind of sometimes will talk about some of the things that they do and kind of make fun of it a little bit. And so I think competition is important. And I want all of the grading companies to survive, whether it be PGX, CBCS, CGC, or whether there's a new entrant into the market. I think that having competition is important. It is healthy for a market to have multiple competitors be in a space. And I've spoken about this before, that when I was evaluating the different grading companies out there, trying to figure out which one that I was going to go with, I kind of wrote out a list of pros and cons, of features and benefits, you know, who had what and what were the big differences. And I think that there are some distinct differences between the grading companies, right? One of the big differences that I see with like CBCS and CGC, for example, is signature service, right? That signature verification is an important differentiator, right? And I think that that's why a lot of people like CBCS, in addition to the other things that they offer in terms of grading and stuff like that. So I think that distinct services and offerings are important, right? I think that that's how a company can carve out space for themselves, right? Because yes, there are multiple companies that make, you know, cars, for example, right? But BMW is known as the ultimate driving machine. Lexus is all about luxury, right? They have their discrete kind of things that they do, but at the end of the day, they all have four wheels and get you from point A to point B. The question is how fast, how slow, how whatever, how comfortable do you want to be? And so I think that it's incumbent upon all the grading companies to keep asking themselves, how can I make myself distinctly different from my competition? How can I introduce a service, a offering that is distinctly my own, right? And so I think that CBCS has hit on something, right? I think that they have hit on something with superfluous adjectives to describe the color of pages. They have decided that one of their competitive advantages is to now say that something is exceptionally white. That's a differentiator. Not, let's speed up our service. Let's get these books back out to people in a timely fashion. No, CBCS has decided that their advantage is to basically say that their pages, that certain pages in certain books are whiter than white, because white isn't white enough, I guess. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Like they issued a statement. I think it's, what's this guy's name? The president and chief grader. What is his guy's name? Steve Borak, president and primary grader. He has a statement here. He says, over the years, I have been grading comics, and it always bothered me that certain vintage comics would get the designation of white pages when they were clearly much whiter and fresher than other comic books that still had the label as white. I just don't understand how adding an adjective is a competitive advantage. White is white, brown is brown, brittle is brittle, right? I don't understand it. So, you know, I was sitting here because it seems that superfluous adjectives is just the way to go, right? The added descriptor is just the way to go. So I came up with a couple of my own, and I want to throw this out to you guys, and I want to see what you guys think about this. Instead of near mint, because near mint isn't good enough, I'm going with minty near mint. Minty near mint, because that is just the best description of a near perfect book. The addition of minty to near mint just puts it over the top. Instead of fine or very fine, right? Because very fine's not good enough. I'm going to go with very, very fine, because if you got one very, two varies makes it all the better. How about this one? Instead of just sharp corners, pointy sharp corners. Instead of fair grade, I'm gonna change fair grade, because I don't think fair grade's good enough. I think it should be now known as good, but not good enough to be good. So no more fair grade. Fair grade is gone. Fair grade is dead. It is now known as good, but not good enough to be good. I just think that that's the way to go. Super minty. Brian says super minty is the way to go. Super minty is like the new near mint. There you go. Chris says he'll invest. I mean, here's the thing, right? Because CBCS can't, it won't stop there, right? CGC is now going to be like, you know what? All right, you guys have exceptionally white. We're going to have I don't know what's better than white. Like Snow White, blazing white, snowflake white. Where does it end, right? It's either white or it's off-white. I mean, there's no level. It's either hot or it's cold, right? There is no hot and real hot. It just does not make sense. Chris says instead of white, go with pasty white. So white you can't see it. I don't get it. Here's the thing. High def white, the uncanny Kyle. Focus on real differentiators. Focus on services that actually benefit people, not just distinguishing between shades of color and saying mine is better because it's brighter, that therefore it is better. Because here's the thing, do you now attach more value to exceptional white than you do for white? The same way that you assign more value to white versus off-white, right? Because I know that there are guys that are like, I need to pay a book with white pages. White pages is important to me, okay? Well, that's cool. I get that. I respect that. But now are you going to say white isn't good enough and it needs to be exceptional white? And is exceptional white now going to be worth, you know, $100, $200, $1,000 more than white? And then what happens to all the books that, and their other thing is that they are only doing this designation for books that are older than 1975, right? Because I guess books after 1975 tend to be exceptional white to begin with. So what happens to those books that were already graded white that were pre-1975? Are they now worth less because you've now, you know, added a new page designation called exceptional white? Are they now going to allow you to send back in your pre-1975 white pages to get them regraded for exceptional white and charge you a reholder fee or something like that? Like, I don't get why they would go this route. And I don't even know if there was like an official announcement. I heard it was on the forums, and I actually read about it on the Scoop, which is previewsworld.com. It was just industry news that was posted up as, I guess, some excerpt. And when I went to CBCS's website, I wasn't able to find anything, but I looked really quickly. So maybe it's there. Clement says, 1080p white, no good? Is that not good? You got to go 4K white. 4K white is where it's at, right? Chris says it depends. Is the book brand new off? No, bro, this is only pre-1975 that they're doing this, right? So, you know, if you have a book from 1972 that was white last week, I guess that book is now worth less because that same book from 1972 now could get exceptional white pages, right? This isn't about moderns. This is about, and I guess the guy cited that he has seen books that are part of pedigree collections that are so well kept that the page quality is beyond white, that it needs some designation above that. And so is it only going to be for pedigree collections, or is it going to be for someone who has a book pre-1974, 1975 that is just taking care of it, right? Does it have to be pedigree? Some of those details are kind of missing. I'm not. Hulk Nut says white as, I'll let you guys fill in the blank. 4K white from Tony Sanders. Omega says he's not getting books graded anymore. White is not that good. Pure white, the best white. I can't. CBCS, yes, I would agree, Hulk Nuts, that it sounds a little desperate. My thing is, again, I don't have a problem with people trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, right? Because I'm a marketer, right? And as a marketer, that's sometimes what we have to do. We have to take a hair's difference between two things and make it seem like it is the Grand Canyon of differences. Not a hair's difference. It is the Grand Canyon. But there are other things, in my opinion, that CBCS could actually win on. There are other services that they could introduce. There are other services that they already offer that if they just tried harder might be real game changers, real differentiators. It's not an adjective before the word white. That is not going to save any company, right? And it comes back to, you know, what are we going to fall for, right? What are we going to believe in? Where are we going to draw the line and decide enough is enough, that what you're doing doesn't really add any value? You know what I'm saying? Ben is in the house. Church copies, Larson's and Riley's have the best page quality. You are probably right about that, because I think they cited one of those. Boatwright says, God washed away your sins. It is Sunday, brother. It is Sunday after all. Oh, man, you guys are hilarious. Ben says Brock is trying to do whatever he can to stay in the game. You know, yeah, you do have to throw an amen after some of that stuff, right? Angelic white. You know, the thing is I get it. I get that maybe you think that you're in a dogfight and you're trying to fight to save your company, right? I guess the guy has a good reputation. I'm not trying to disparage the guy at all. That's not what this is about. It's satire, sarcasm, right? It's me having a little fun. But I get it. Maybe you're in a dogfight to save your company, and I respect that. But this isn't the way to do it. In my opinion, this is not the way to do it. This would not prompt me to send my books to CBCS for the chance that I'm going to get an exceptional white page designation. That's not going to prompt me to send my books there, right? That's just not the way to go. It saved Marvel in the 90s, Candy Graham Man says. I don't know about that, brother. I don't know about that. Omega says he's concerned that these variants now altering the grading standards may have a negative impact on future value of comics. It very well could. The best thing is seriously raw graded books. You might, I mean, again, that's a definitely, you know, Omega, one of the things that I was thinking about myself with regard to raw graded comics, because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that CBCS, I think, is the only company out there doing raw graded comics. But what's interesting is I never see raw graded comics for sale. I never see. I've seen one CBCS raw graded book, and it was a Submariner #1 about 3 months ago. That was the only time I've ever seen it. And I'm curious, there doesn't seem to be a secondary market for raw graded comics. And I'm curious why that might be. I don't know if you guys have some opinions on that. The whitest paper will have more of a bluish tint to it anyway with the way that whiteness is measured. I'm going to have to take your word for that, KB, because I don't know that. Yeah, so come in. There is a service. Again, this is one of the things that I'm talking about. CBCS actually has a raw graded service. They will basically, and somebody with more experience may be able to help me with this. They basically take the book in, and instead of slabbing it, I think they put it in like a mylight or something like that with like a safety seal on the back, and it is a raw graded comic. It has an official grade. It goes through, I think, like the same process as a regular book, but instead of encapsulation in a slab, they actually leave it in like a mylight-like material. At least that's my understanding. So I'm going to show this. KB has actually sent over a link to look at colors. So if you guys may want to check that out, I will leave that up there. And then Omega says the market is not ready for raw grading. I don't know, bro, because there's if you heard that debate that I had with Bueller a few weeks ago, there's a lot of cats out there, man, that don't like slabbing books, right? And I respect it. People still want to access their book. They still want to have that option of being able to put their hands on their books. There's guys like me that don't mind the slabbing, but I don't know. Maybe there is some room for raw graded books. I don't know, especially if they are done in such a way that they are tamper-proof, right? So you have that same security and peace of mind that comes with a slab book, that it hasn't been adulterated. I don't know. Maybe there is room. Maybe they just haven't put the right emphasis behind it to push it there because they're too focused on exceptional white page designation. Something to think about. I think I lost credit. So Omega says he has a few raw graded books. Buying comics is an emotional sale and need. Yeah, so Ben says, I remember the owl page quality card. I remember that card as well. I actually looked it up not that long ago. Like, how do you decide what color the pages are? And if for those that don't know, it's like a little card that has like if you've ever gone to the dentist and seen the teeth whitening things, they'll show you like your brown teeth your yellow teeth and how white your teeth can be with the whitening service. They have a similar kind of owl page quality thing with like little thumbnails, if you will, for different colors of books. And so I think that thing is really cool. Clement says he actually thinks he bought one before but doesn't remember. I think it's only CBCS, but I could definitely be wrong about that. So and Hope Nut says, get it graded, slab it at home, kit, be done with it. And he's talking about Comic Skins because that's what Comic Skins essentially does. So Ben says he is yet to own a CBCS book. Why is that, Ben? I'm curious. I'm actually going to show you guys the only CBCS books in my collection, minus maybe one. I think I have one on the wall. And I think that's pretty much it, but I'm going to show you guys some of my CBS books in a second. Chris says maybe they can laminate the book during the raw grade in order to keep the condition while being able to read the book. Yeah, JD, it's like Home Depot paint swatches, exactly. Ben, dude, my mom makes so much fun of me because of my smile, man. She's always like, do you have to show all your teeth in your photos? teeth do show. I don't know. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? So I did reach out to a couple of people about sponsorship recently. So we'll see what happens. I'm like, hey, let's get some stuff going. It'd be kind of cool. Just like when I was doing fitness full time, I had a bunch of sponsors and stuff like that. So I'm starting to try to do the same thing here for comic books. Not because I need the money, but because I think that this stuff is fun. And for me, it is all about having fun, you know? JD says he has one CBCS pedigree that CGC didn't recognize. Now they do. Red Cap Man says he has Moon Knight 55 CBCS. So I'll show you guys a couple of the CBCS books that I have. Many of these were picked up early on. I'll tell you a little bit about some of them as I go through here. But this is Amazing Adventures featuring the Beast. This is the first appearance of Beast with fur. I picked this book up really early on, and it's a 9.0, and it's a solid 9.0, I think. Not the greatest rap on this particular book, but definitely a cool book to have in the collection. Definitely one that's hard to find in a really high grade. So I actually picked these up from a guy in a coffee shop met him locally at Starbucks over in Palo Alto. And I picked up Uncanny X-Men number 141, white pages, 9.4. Really cool series here from Chris. And newsstand 142. Absolutely love both of these books. Yes, Ben says the bags that these things come in are fantastic. They are form-fitting. I mean, you can actually show them without having it look like, you know, some awful piece of trash kind of hanging. I mean, look at this. Right? I mean, again, there are meaningful differences between the grading companies. And it's like I mean, not that the bag is a huge selling point, but it's a nice feature, you know? And it's like, I absolutely love these things. I rarely take them out of the outer shell. This one I don't like as much because it crinkles. But this is another book that I picked up, X Factor number 6, first full appearance of Apocalypse, 9.8. Of course, with white pages, not old enough to get the exceptional white page designation. I picked up Avengers 125, 9.6. This is off-white pages. This is an early Thanos appearance. Again, these are mostly books that I picked up early on when I was still debating do I go with CBCS? Do I go with CGC? I wasn't yet slabbing any of my own books. Iron Fist, first appearance of Sabretooth, 9.4. Definitely a really cool book. And out of all the slab books that I have, those are essentially the only, and there's 6 of them. These are the only CBCS books that I have in my collection. Actually, I misspoke because there's one on the wall, and that's essentially it. Angelic white pages. No, bro, those are not pure white. They're just it's just regular white, just regular pedestrian white, not angelic, not exceptional, not any of that superfluous stuff. They're just white. And I think when I say that they're white, you guys know exactly what I mean. You guys know exactly what that is. Chu says, does CBCS still fetch lower prices than CGC for equivalent grade and book? I'm going to turn to my buddy Ben to see what Ben thinks about that, but I would say yes. I think that CGC books will command higher prices than CBCS. Sorry, yes. They will command higher prices. But there, you know, somebody asked me this question the other day about market share, and I really do think that CGC dominates the secondary market with graded books. Like if you do a search online, you will find more CGC books than you will CBCS books. And yeah, they also command some higher prices. So Ben says, sounds like CBCS is trying to create a new market with this exceptional white designation. I believe that they are trying to create a new market. And the question is, are we going to support that new market, right? Are we going to send in our books pre-1975 for the hope of getting exceptional white pages from CBCS versus just regular white pages from CBC? I don't know. I don't know. I don't see that as being a meaningful differentiator for me to pick CBCS versus CGC. Now, if you're a CBCS guy already and you're sending it there, then hey, maybe, you know, that's cool, right? But also the other part of it is, are people going to pay more for exceptional white versus white? At the same grade, same book, exceptional white, white. I don't know. Godly white is a 10. Mother of pearl white. You guys are hilarious. Oh man, Snow White, Bone White. I've actually seen CBS books fetch higher prices than CGC on certain books like ASM 129. Yeah, you could be right about that. You know, I think what Chu is probably referring to is just overall, not necessarily like book for book, right? Because I think you're probably right. Like there are some times at which CBCS will dominate, some times at which CGC will dominate, but I think what he's asking for is like market wide. Does CGC outperform in terms of price? And I would say yes, it does. I would say yes, it does. Pearl white pages. And KB says he believes that people would actually do that. I don't know. Ben is saying even CBCS keys show a slight decrease right now. Clement, they're blocking your comment. I don't know why. Destroy your retinas white is accepted. And CBCS folks, you are hilarious. RB3 says it will take them 7 months just to decide what color white it is. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what it is. Guys, I think RB3 just hit on it. I think RB3 just figured out why it takes so long to get books back from CBCS. They have been debating this whole exceptional white versus white thing for the last 6 months since their move. He just solved it. Now, my guess is that the books out of CBCS are going to start to flow like nobody's business. Now that they have landed on exceptional white, the bottleneck is over in the books shall flow. RB3, I'm telling you, this dude is so analytical. He takes in all these individual data points and then he just connects the dots. I saw it. The pieces were there. I just couldn't put it together. RB3 saw it. For those that don't know, this is nothing but sarcasm. I want to say that because I don't want people to think I'm serious. RB3 is my buddy first and foremost, and I like CBCS. I hope that they survive. I'm just having a little fun. So hopefully, I think most of you guys in this room already know that, but certainly for the people that are going to be watching this thing, possibly on playback, possibly never having seen one of my videos before, may think that I'm serious about this, but I am absolutely not serious about it. It is all good. And if you watch my videos, you will see I will make mistakes and I will make fun of myself. Why? Because this is comics and it should be fun. It is not that serious, you know? And so that's just how I roll. Chris says he's actually heard stories of people working at CBCS getting into fist fights over Bro, tell me you're lying. Tell me you were joking about that. If I see grown people fighting over the shade of white, grade the book, ship the book back to the people. Keep it simple. Guessing what Pantone color number 2 is. Incandescent white, LED white. Vox, you are hilarious, bro. I've never seen you before in one of my chats, but that is the way to enter a live chat, bro. Incandescent white and LED white. Well done, sir. Hell, so Jacob just hit on it. He says if CGC starts doing signature verification, he feels that CBCS is through. I think the good thing for CBC, these names are too similar. The good news for CBCS is that I don't think CGC wants to touch signature verification. So I think that's a good thing for them. I think that, again, that is a major point of differentiation between the two companies. But I think that you're right. If CBC decides that they are going to jump in that game, it can be very tough, because that is one of the main differentiators, right? They have not the best, but they have good turnaround time. They have good cases. They're offering this crossover service stuff now. And it's like, if they were to offer signature verification, the exceptional white will not save CBCS. It will not save them, you know, and I want them to be saved. I want them to do well. I want more companies to come into the market. Like, you know, whether it be Halo from outside the, I think it's Australia. I think Halo is outside the US. There's rumblings of other companies that are going to be starting up and coming to the market. And I welcome all of that. I think competition is healthy. I'm going to tell you why. Because I have Comcast, and Comcast sucks. And I don't have another choice but Comcast. So I'm a huge fan of competition. Bring it on, you know? It could be Southern white with a little red in it, since it's from Louisiana. You guys are hilarious. This book is whiter than your mind. You guys are nuts. Vox says he discovered my videos tonight. I'm an awesome dude. Bro, I'm glad you made it in. There have been a lot of people that have been flowing into the channel as of late. I think as of today, we are sitting right now at 1,600 subscribers. No, we just 1,601. We just hit 1,601 subscribers. So definitely thankful for all you guys. I was telling somebody earlier today who just discovered the channel. I was like, I remember when it was like me and like 150 close friends, you know, so we have definitely grown tremendously, and I am very thankful for everyone that discovers this channel, everyone that comes here and just joins in and just has some fun, man. So hopefully you guys keep telling friends and keep inviting people and keep joining me for these discussions, because this is what makes this stuff fun to me. Just getting on here and just chopping it up with you guys and having some laughs. So Omega bro, it is good to see you, my man. Thank you for stopping by the chat. Hopefully we'll get a chance to chat soon. Tony Sanders, then make my green label yellow, please. You guys, Ned Flanders. Who said that? Boat right. Ned Flanders. So Clement says Comcast, his friend used to work for them. So check it out, man. I had Comcast, right, when I first came to the house, and I set up those the pods that they have, the Wii pods, or I can't remember what they were called, but they're like extenders, signal extenders, right? And I had them spread throughout the house the way that you think that they should be to stretch my signal out. And I did it. I bought them. I had them all set up. They were working for a little while. Then all of a sudden, they started to go haywire. So I actually called the tech in. Tech comes in. He's like, look, we can't even service these things. They called us in and told us that they were, you know, putting these out into the market, and told us we didn't need to know anything about them because we weren't going to service them at all. And the guy was like, look, if it were me, I'd just go buy Orbi. That's basically what the Comcast tech told me, to go buy Orbi by Netgear. You know what I did? I packaged up those Wi-Fi pods. I put them on OfferUp. I sold them to somebody else. I got my Orbi service in here, and it's worked like a charm ever since. You know, but I have no choice but to use Comcast to bring the signal in. But where I have a choice, I went with the Orbi system, and it's working incredibly well. Jacob says they don't have Google Fiber. No, bro, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't. And there's actually a college not too far from me. And so in Google, I'm in San Francisco area, you know, so I would love to have Google Fiber up here, but I also live in the hills. So sometimes we don't get everything up here right away. So maybe one day we will. Ben says Comcast is poop. Well said, bro. That understatement says everything right there. Doubt that, because CBCS has the highest standard of grades, yet is in the mid-range in price, just like Beckett versus PSA when it comes to trading cards. I think I'm reading that out of context, so I won't be able to comment on it. I think you guys are having... Chris says he heard of me through We Love Comics. Yeah, Chris over at We Love Comics is a friend, man. I talk to that guy often, and he gave me a shout out in a couple of his videos, and I think in like 48-hour period, I think I jumped like 200 subs thanks to him. So I'm definitely thankful of Chris. he also was one of the first people to watch me back when I had like 150 subs, and reached out to me and gave me some words of encouragement, gave me some things to think about, and kind of kicked me in my tail and told me to step my game up, because he was like, you can do better than what you're doing. And he was right. I was kind of just doing it just to have a little fun. I wasn't investing much time. And he was like, you're better than that. And I was like, all right, stranger, go ahead and do some stuff. And now we went from 150 subs to 1,600 subs in a relatively short period of time. And I'm super thankful to people like Chris over at We Love Comics, to guys like Comics with Bueller, and then just all the amazing friends that I've made. Ben is another guy. Tech31 is another guy that gives me a ton of feedback offline. And I'm super thankful for everyone, you know. So Ben says, brittle, peanut butter brittle pages. That is actually a really good descriptor. I should have written that one down. I wish I had come up with that, because I came up with, for mine, instead of near mint, going with minty. Minty near mint, right? Because near mint's not good enough, so it's got to be minty near mint. And then I said, instead of very fine, I'm going to go with very, very fine, because if one very is good, two has got to be better. And then I also came up with, instead of just sharp corners, we're going to go with pointy sharp corners, because corner is not descriptor enough. It's got to be a pointy. And then this was my favorite. This is my favorite. Instead of fair grade will now be known as good, but not good enough to be good. CBCS, if you are watching this video, this is my gift to you. Those are all open source suggestions for your label. Trust me when I tell you, all of those will look good right here on this CBCS label. Just hook it up, and in the notes, just put by Regie. That's all that I ask. Clement says, Verizon is the best. Bro, if I could have Verizon, I definitely would. Vox, you are hilarious. You are hilarious right there. Let me see. No, Ben, I'm just over here having fun, bro. Candy Grandman says, Reg tends to look at all the big comments. So what you do is to make a like. Oh, man. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I was at the eye doctor earlier today. My wife and my sister-in-law, who is an eye doctor, sent me to the eye doctor because I'm having some eye issues. So, Candy Grandman, you could be on to something with that, bro. Kyle Simmons has the best last name ever. Kyle, it is good to see you, bro. It's good to see you. Glad you can make it in here. KB says, half his Silver Age books right there have that description. RB3 says he doesn't think that I'm getting any CBCS sponsorships. Bro, you are probably right about that. I think that's a done deal. unless they understand sarcasm and aren't afraid of someone that can poke fun at them and still work with them. Oh. No, you're probably right. They're not messing with me. But again, here's the thing. I called out CGC the other day for their money grab gimmick that they came out with those basically where they're taking like 1 ounce of silver and 1 ounce of gold, and they're making it look like a comic book, and they're charging like triple, like 1 ounce of silver I think was $14, and they're charging somewhere between like $150 and $250 for 1 ounce of gold. For I'm sorry, 1 ounce of silver. 1 ounce of gold I think was like $1,300 or something like that, and they're trying to charge like $5,000 to $6,000 for 1 ounce of gold because it looks like Amazing Fantasy 15. If that is not a money grab, I don't know what is, you know? And so I am a fan of these grading companies, but sometimes you have to say enough is enough. I'm a fan of Marvel. Marvel with all the variants, I'm just not buying them. I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to support that, you know? And none of us are so perfect that we can't have someone make a little fun of us, you know? And I make fun of myself. You guys make fun of me. And I think it's, it is what it is, man. I'm trying to have some fun. I think RB3 knows that because that is my buddy. Kyle says Thursday he's picking up Thanos 15 CGC 9.8 signed. Congratulations on that, bro. That is awesome. Vox says he's here for the laughs. Well, you came to the right place, bro, because I'm having a good time. Oh no, what did Candy Grand Man say? Let me scroll up here. What did he say about me? Oh, I think that was yeah, I am getting up there in age. There's no doubt about that one. So I am definitely paying a price, New Zealand Mint put those things in. Yeah, New Zealand Mint has them, and I think there was another company here. You guys had to go back and watch the video. It was like Heart something or another came out with these things. But they were the Amazing Fantasy format for these things. Foil covers. They were all 10.0s. It was just a mess. I want no part of that. Only have one CGC book to his name. Bring up some good points about slabbing books. I've always debated about sending my books off. Yeah, man, the thing is, Vox, my thing is I never tell people what to do. That's not my gig, right? Everyone out there more than likely is an adult, makes his or her own money, right? You make decisions in your lives all the time, right? My job is not to tell you something is right or wrong, or you should do this or you should do that. That's not my gig. What I try to do is to bring forward some things for you to consider and think about, right? I'm a big fan of creating space and putting into that space information and allowing the individual to decide how they want to operate with that information, And at the end of the day, slabbing is not for everyone. Slabbing is certainly not for every book. But it's like, if you decide to go that route, I think that there are some things that you should think about, some things to consider. Like, does the value of the book outweigh the cost of getting the book slabbed? Why are you getting the book slabbed, right? Are you doing it for protection, preservation? Are you doing it for value? Like, just think about those things and make some informed decisions. Like, for example, I personally would never send in Uncanny X-Men #1. And I like the X-Men. I would never send this book in because the cost of getting it slabbed does not outweigh the value of this book, right? Not that value is the only reason, but I feel like I can put this book in a My Light and stick it in my boxes, and it will be perfectly fine, perfectly protected. I think that that's the way to go for that book. Now, if I had this book raw, I might get this one slabbed, right? Or do what I did, which is to buy it slab, because I was able to probably get it a little bit cheaper, a little better condition at that 9.4 versus buying it raw, getting it slab, blah, 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 blah. So Vox, if you decide to do it, bro, there are plenty of videos on my channel that will help you kind of think your way through it and ultimately arrive at a decision. And whatever you decide to do, that is the right decision to make. What does this just use, Michael Jackson? Your grade is 1987, Michael Jackson. Some of these I might have to read before I read them out loud. JD says he bought a Silver Surfer variant. He fell off the wagon. Bro, it's all good. It is all good. Oh my goodness. RB3 says they sold out of those Amazing Fantasy 15s at $5,500. That is ridiculous. 1 ounce of gold that looks like an AF-15 at $5,500. How much is an ounce of gold right now, RB3? 2,300, something like that? I don't think it's that much. Oh man, you guys are hilarious. What does he say? Chris says, I'm buying a book. I'll either get the variant or the regular cover. I'll get multiple covers if I like the story and if I like the variants. I respect it. I respect that response. And I resemble that because I will sometimes do that exact same thing. Kyle says he just got done reading Thanos Secret War and man, oh man, wasted, expecting to be the best of some girl, the Mad Titan beat by a girl. The Mad Titan has been beat by a girl, and the Mad Titan has also been beat by himself, right? He is essentially defeated himself several times, which I just think is hilarious. KB says slabbing that just turned that into a $25 book. Well, yeah, it does, but it also costs you, depending upon whether you do a press, $32 to get it slabbed, right? Because you have to, and that's not even including shipping. Shipping to and from. Press is $8, slabbing is what, $27? So you're already in the hole before you can even get the book back, you know? And that's why, again, I wouldn't do that, because there are some costs involved with getting those books slabbed. And if you decide, you know what, I just love this book and I want to get it slabbed because I want it, you know what? That's cool too, because I've done that. I've slabbed books that are worthless books, but I slab them. Why? Because it's my collection and I want to get it slabbed. And that is perfectly fine. You know, for me, again, it's all about just giving people a couple of things to think about, and whatever decision you make for your collection, that's the right decision. I firmly believe that. And Vox, you are very welcome, brother. But the one thing I will always tell you and tell anybody else, make sure you do your research. Don't take my word for it, because I get things wrong. You know what I'm saying? Do your research, triangulate the response, watch a couple of other people, do your own research, and again, make an informed decision, you know? Gold is at, I thought it was 13. Okay, I misspoke when I think I said 20 something, but gold is at 1284. I'm sorry, 1248. Silver is at $14, and they just sold out of these things at $5,500. That is ridiculous. I am going to get some gold pressed, and I'm gonna stick a sticker on there that looks like AF15. Ben is asking, what is the lowest page quality you accept on a CGC book? Bro, it depends, man. Honestly, I am not a huge, and I know a lot of people are, I'm not a huge snob when it comes to page quality, to be honest with you. And maybe I should be. I think I've gotten better and pay closer attention to some of that stuff. But here's an example of a Fantastic Four 49 that I picked up. It's a 7.5, and this actually has cream to off-white pages. Not the best, but for what I paid for it and the condition of this book, I am actually okay with that. Would I love white to off-white, exceptional white? Absolutely. But for what I paid for this cream to off-white, that's not bad. And it's not quite peanut butter brittle. The answer to that is, there you go. Oh, wait a minute, I think I missed that one. So they sold out CGC 10s at 7,000. That's ridiculous. So when you get your AF15, where you have, bro, AF15s are probably the one Marvel key that doesn't seem to get white pages. Bro, if I get an AF15, I'm going to take whatever color I can get. Because originally, and I think you and I had this conversation, I was aiming for like a 2520. That price continues to creep up there. You know, continues to creep up. Maybe you should just let me hold one of yours for a little bit. You know, maybe you should just let me hold one of those. Chris says, yeah, do your research for everything. You overpay for a Spider-Man 1. And it happens. I mean, we all do it. We all overpay from time to time, you know. Clement says he actually likes his pages with a little yellow and brown on it. Candy Grab Man, I look forward to that. I'll check it out when I get it. Eye appeal can trump page quality in some cases for me. That's a good question. And then AF48 is still climbing. Yeah, I've got AF48 right there. What color is that? Hold on, let me check. That is off-white pages up there, 4.0. And then I have probably a 3530 in the boxes as well. And then I have 3 copies of this, including this one. One of them has, I think, slightly brighter pages than another. And then I have one that has like a little rat bite out of the corner. I got it super inexpensive, but it had like a little rat bite out of the corner. But again, you know, some of these books, page quality can't always be helped. Because if you look at this book, it's not in bad shape. It's an old CGC case, but the book actually isn't in bad shape at all. I mean, it's a decently graded 7.5, you know, so I can't be too upset about this at all. Straight out of the dumpster, bro. Oh, wait a minute. A 2.5 sold on Heritage Day for 14. That's not bad, bro. Because I mean, it was like, when I first started looking at them, I want to say they were like 12.5 several months ago. And what were they recently if it's now going for 14.4, 2.5? Tech saw a 0.5 sell on eBay for 8K. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, for me, I would say pet peeves on older books. Probably detached covers, rusty staples. Generally speaking, I like my books to have some eye appeal, right? Like, I was looking one time at a Fantastic Four, and it was dingy. Like, it was a good book, but it was like dingy white. And I like my books to have some eye appeal. I want them to be attractive, whatever the grade is, right? Whatever the grade is, low grade, if it's a 2, if it's a 3, just look presentable. You know what I'm saying? So I think presentation is important, because I really struggle with like spending really good money on something really ugly. Because at the end of the day, you know, especially if it's like this, all you're really going to do is ever look at this, and you're going to look at it and be like, you're ugly, you know? And it's like, I don't want to do that. Detached covers. I've never bought a detached cover book. I've never purchased a book without a cover. I've never purchased a book with missing staples or detached centerfolds. I think the most that I've ever done was a book that was missing a coupon, and it was a Marvel. Where is this book? It was if I can find it. It was this book right here, The Mighty Worlds of Marvel. This book right here. This one actually has the original artwork on the back of it from Steve Ditko of Amazing Fantasy 15. I picked this up. This one is missing a coupon from the inside. And I came very close to actually buying this same one again today, because that book actually doesn't come up all that often for sale, because you only can get them in the UK. And it came up for sale, and I almost bought another one. But I've been holding off. I haven't bought really anything as of late. I picked up a couple of books, but I didn't pay much for them. But I haven't really been buying anything as of late. Nothing serious, no serious purchases in several weeks. So kind of holding out. Ben says it's time to bleach all his comics. Bro, I would not do that. And Ben is right. Black covers are definitely tough. The last GPA on a 2.5 CGC AF15 was 17K in August. Whoa, that is a price drop. I can get on board with that. Is it a price drop or a price correction? I choose to look at it, you know, that it's an adjustment. But 14K, I mean, let's be honest, 14K is a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. 12K, a lot of money, right? But it puts the book kind of in reach versus 17K, where you're like, I think I'm gonna have to pass on that one, you know? KB says he picked up a Batman 190. I didn't realize it had a staple pull. Mad about that. Yeah, no, I hear you about that. AF15 sold today was a 2.5 cream to off-white pages. I'd buy it, I'd love it, and I'd stare at it every day. I have to tell you, AF15, bro, I don't know. You bro, incorrigible goat slayer, bro. It has to be pretty. I want to look at it and I'm like, I want to love you, but you ugly. I can't do it. I cannot buy an ugly book, you know? Tech says slabbing has created a cover-centric market for sure. Detached covers or centerfolds don't bug me at all if it's slabbed. I get that. I definitely respect that. Long term, shouldn't lose anything. I definitely agree with that, Ben, in terms of AF15. I think when we did RV3 did some analysis of this a while ago, and he basically said that AF15 has, by and large, gone up $500 per year, right? And I can't remember what grade he looked at, but the whole point is that that book is on an upswing, an up trajectory. Maybe it jumped a little bit because of like the speculation around Spider-Man coming into the MCU and all that kind of stuff. But it is a book that is performing and will probably continue to perform. And it is a book that at some point I will actually have in my collection. So Boatwing asks if I am a Marvel only guy. Yeah, pretty much Marvel only guy. I have a couple of DC books, like 1, 2. I don't really do DC. Not my thing. Not my thing at all. I respect it. I respect all things, but that's not my thing. Would I rather own a DC book than That's a false choice, bro. Chris, that is a false choice, and I will not participate in that. Tony Trebetta says, would I buy an ugly book for trade bait to get something in the future? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I'm going to be honest. I'll show you some of my trade bait real quick. I'll show you. Can I find it? All right. So I'm going to show you guys some of my ugly trade bait. But even the trade bait that's ugly isn't that ugly. So here you go. I'm going to give it to you at a 10 foot. You guys ever heard of a 10 footer? 10 footer girl? So that looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? But let's get a little closer. You can actually see some of what's happening on the spine there, some of the other folds and creases. There's a small rip where his skirt is, or his long shirt. I'm not quite sure, but this is definitely some trade bait material. I picked this one up really late night one night when somebody had an auction that was ending. I snagged that one. We got that's a Fantastic Four number 48. Here is Fantastic Four 49. Again, it's a little ugly, right? You guys have seen the 7.5, right? And so this is one that I kind of picked up for potential trade bait down the line. And then here's the one that I mentioned. This one is actually in decent shape. When you look at it, right, you see it, not a whole lot of bad action going there, right? Not a whole lot. And then you get down here and you see where the rat had a little feast, right? A little action going on over there. And then you've got the same thing here with the 50s going on. Not necessarily the best grade in the 50s. And I actually don't have a slab version of this one. I just got both of these raw. But these are some of my trade bait books that at some point will go somewhere else in exchange for something else. So I picked those up right before like the 48, 49, and 50 really got crazy. I picked those up to have in the bin. So there you go, Tony. That's just a couple of my trade bait action that I've picked up several months ago. I honestly think it's more of the sentimental value of a book, and do you want to go broke? Well said with that one, brother, because that's one of my criteria, that sometimes you want to get a book slab because you want to, and sometimes that reason is sentimental, right? Early books that you may have from your childhood that a significant other gave you, a book that you purchased for yourself at an important time in life. Those are all books, in my opinion, that are perfectly slab worthy, right? Regardless of how much that book is worth, that book has meaning beyond the dollars and cents. And so there you go. I answered Tony's question. Candy Graham Ancestors leans back. 9.8 on eBay. There's a market for every copy as prices and demand go up. Exactly. And that's exactly why I picked those up, right? Because those books are hot books, you know, and you're never going to kick yourself by saying, I wish I had not spent a little bit of money for a really good book that is going up in value. And the great thing about it, I'm gonna be honest, did I buy those books partly because of their trade bait? Yes. But do I also really like the trilogy? Yes. The first thing I did was to focus on buying a set of the trilogy for myself because I wanted it. Then it was, okay, if I see another copy at a fair price, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to stick it in a bin, and I'm going to hold on to it. Because, you know, at some point, maybe I will do a trade for AF-15. Maybe Ben, Tech 31 in the room will take pity on me and hook me up with one of his AF-15s. Aska says he saw a Fantastic Four 48 that looked like a dog chewed on it and it sold really high on eBay. And bro, I am not surprised by that at all. Chris, I'm not reading your comment, but if you guys want to laugh, scroll up and look at Chris's. I heard somebody the other day say that my lights were like beer goggles. Do I have Silver Surfer 4? I do not. I have Silver Surfer Ultra. I have Silver Surfer 3. I almost picked up the full run of Silver Surfer. So 1 through 19, I almost picked it up. But the 1 was beat. The 4 was really beat. And, you know, the value comes in those first couple of books. And so I ended up passing on that full run. It was 19 books. Could have picked it up, and I decided to pass. The books are still available, so maybe I'll get them. I don't know. I need to think more about it. I'm not a huge Silver Surfer fan per se. And so it was one of those things of, do I want to spend this money on, you know, these set of books, or do I not want to do it and buy something else, you know, that I really want? And so that was the call that I made. So a low grade book is better than no book. Well said, especially if it's a book that you really want. RB3, why are you always teasing me with the Jim Lee stuff? You know I'm a sucker for Jim Lee, and you know Jim Lee transcends Marvel and DC. You know that. Jim Lee is incredible. He is incredible. Let me see. Low grade is better than no grade indeed. Yes, he just finished. Someone just said something. Just finished X-Men Fatal Attraction. Very nice. Very, very nice. Coverless copies have a market. Yeah, there is true. That is true. The coverless books definitely have a market. I have never bought a coverless book, and I don't know if I can. I don't know if I would buy a coverless book. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it, because part of it for me is, yeah, I want the book, but I also, the cover is what's partly iconic about the book. Yeah, I want to own the book, but I also want the cover as part of it. And I know people will get facsimiles made of covers, which I think is fine for people. For me, I want the book intact. I want the book intact, and I want the book to be attractive. Rat bites aside, I don't really mind that. Sometimes even a rip or two isn't bad, depending upon the book. But I want the best possible book that I can afford, and still be able to put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I roll. So would I ever trade those books on the wall and some cash for an AF-15? No, I would not, Comic Tony. And here's the reason why, man. Here's the reason why. Is because some of these books on the wall, some of them I've had since my childhood. Some of them I've wanted since my childhood, and I finally own them. And so for me, the struggle is letting go of something that I just got to get something else that I want, only to really still want all of those books. You know what I'm saying? And that's a struggle that I have, in the sense that maybe if I had these books for 30 years, maybe I wouldn't be attached to them. Maybe I would be willing to let them go because I've had the pleasure of enjoying them. I haven't had the pleasure of these books all that long. Like most of the books that you see on that wall, most of them have been acquired in the last year. Like literally in the last year. Books that I have stared at since I was a child, I have had less than a year. And I'm not, and one of them, for example, The Amazing Spider-Man number 500, I stood across the table from Stan Lee and got that book signed. You know what I'm saying? Stood across the table from Stan Lee, who I've admired for a very long time. Stood across the table from him, got that book signed, then had it sent off to get signed by John Romita. I'm not going to be able to get that book back. You know what I'm saying? And so I would not trade those books for an AF-15. My thought, my hope, my goal is to have every single one of those books and get an AF-15 to add to the list. That's the goal. That's what I'm aiming for, you know? Chu says he's obsessed with getting first appearance graded books with the character on the cover, since the cover is the only thing he gets to see. I respect that. So coverless comics for him is definitely a no. You know, I definitely get it. Steve Wynn accidentally put a hole in a priceless painting similar with your valuable comics. Have you ever? No, I've never done that. Have you ever done something similar with one of your comics? No, I've never done that. That's part of the reason why I get those things. It's probably why I get those things slabbed, so that I have that peace of mind. Chris says Jim Lee is like Neil Adams and Frank Miller, artists who can work for any company. Work for any company, work on any book, work on any character, and do an incredible job at it, right? Jim Lee is, in my opinion, he is a super, super talented dude, you know? Silver Surfer is the first, Mephisto is at 9. I think it's, which Silver Surfer is the first Mephisto. That's 3. Silver Surfer 3 is the first Mephisto, where he's actually on the cover. Yeah, Clement got it right there. AF-15 will increase your homeowner's insurance. No, so I actually do insurance separately for all of my collection. I actually use, and there's a video on my channel where I talk about this. I actually have separate insurance for my comic book collection. And what I did is I actually overestimated the value of my collection because I'm constantly adding books and trying to catalog those books as they come in. So I actually did a lot more than what I needed, right? A lot more than what I needed to ensure that I have adequate protection for my entire collection. So I do it separate and apart from my homeowner's insurance. That gives me a little peace of mind, you know? There was low issue, just forgot. Yeah, it's 3. It's back there somewhere in the box. Comic Head 84, how you doing? It's good to see you. Bake the Snake is in the house. How you guys doing? Who else is here? Graded Batman Damn 1 prices came down like crazy. Yeah, somebody was actually trying to sell one of those, and I guess they're only going for like $100 now, and they were going for something higher than that before, you know? Yeah, Tony, so that video with the comic book room, I think that comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I have a really cool video, a market watch video coming out on Monday. Hopefully you guys will watch that. That'll be at 3:30. It's a really cool video looking at the health of the comic book market. Next week, I have a controversial video coming out, not this Monday, but the Monday after. I'm trying to put a little space in the big videos, but that's going to be an interesting book, and I'm going to be curious what people think about that one. So stay tuned for that, because some good stuff's coming out. Have I ever tried the superhero workouts? No, I've never done that. So many tens of Batman Damned is dropping the prices of 9.8 prices. Was over at White Whales. Oh man, their live stream was today. Oh, I stepped on their toes. I didn't realize that their live feed was today. I didn't realize that was today. What time was that? I didn't realize that. I'll have to apologize to them. Oh, sorry about that. Have more legitimacy of the price. Ghost Spider, first Damn was a key. Just ended. I stepped all over their toes. Oh man, I'm gonna have to apologize. I did not realize. I try not to do that, but I've done it now twice in a row, and it's not intentional. Sometimes you get that moment where you can actually go and you look to see if anybody else is live, you don't see it, and then you go and then you realize. So yeah, my apologies to those guys for stepping on their toes. Hey, Big Will, how you doing, brother? I don't know how long I've been on here, to be honest with you. Maybe, I don't know, it's 9 o'clock. I've probably been on here for a while. Oh, it did. Okay, so mine started towards the end. Okay, I feel better. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that, because both of those guys are good guys, both friends, and sorry about that. Giving you the heads up so you know when they... Oh, man. They went 1 hour and 30. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to apologize to them. So much great content on YouTube. Yeah, man. I mean, it's hard. I know somebody once upon a time was trying to keep a calendar of everyone's live streams. And you have some people that have fixed times when they go live, and then you have people like me who, when I have a moment, when I have an idea, when I have, you know, a haul or whatever, I just jump on and kind of randomly do it. And so I'm a little bit harder to predict, which is always why I say, like, make sure you subscribe and sign up for notifications, because I'm a little less rigid with the live streams, because this is my second one of the day. I went earlier and now again tonight. It is definitely hard, Brett Hess, but definitely glad to have you here. Too many YouTubers available. So yeah, I guess that is a good problem. It's good. Eventually there will be too many good YouTubers. Yeah, it's starting to be a problem, man, to be honest with you, because I know. Because there's a lot of really good YouTubers, and I think I'm friends with a lot of them, and they are really doing really good content. I've been really impressed with, like, the last year with the quality of the content that people are creating, right? And that they're doing it consistently, right? It's consistently elevating the game, where you're like looking at yourself like, okay, maybe I need to do better, because I see somebody over here doing something really cool, and like, I don't want to do what they're doing, but I want to continue to offer something good to the community. And so I think it's really good when we keep pushing one another to do well. Yeah, Big Will, you're right. Replay does come in handy, you know. Replay definitely comes in handy. Other history, DC, whoops. Okay. White Will, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the channel. I apologize. I think I stepped on the end of you all's live stream. I apologize for that. I'm going to try to head over maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, and watch you all's collaboration and check that out. It's good to see you, brother. But yeah, I'm gonna try to check that out, and I apologize for stepping on the end of your live stream there. So, I have no. How do you say your name? K-A-C-H Kachong. I don't know how you say that, but thank you, thank you. I don't know how you say your name, but thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. So, you know, I'm always trying to just do really cool stuff, different stuff to keep people engaged. All right. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I have been on here rambling long enough. If you guys are just getting here, go back and watch the replay. This, I think, was a pretty fun live stream. There were lots of laughs on this live stream. We actually did talk about some serious stuff in there. We showed some books. But I think above all else, we had some fun. So if you guys get a chance, go back and watch the live stream. I want to thank you guys for the thumbs up that you've left on this video. I want to thank you for all of the wonderful comments. There was a lot of really cool commentary where you guys were just having some fun, which I think is great. But I want to thank you guys for spending a little bit of your Sunday with me. The week ahead is going to be a busy one. I have some amazing content coming out this week, Monday through Thursday. I have new content coming out always at 3:30 Pacific time. My hope is that you guys will swing by and check out that content. And then I also hope to go live maybe once or twice this week. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. Tony Sanders says, keep it minty mint. And if you don't know what that means, you got to go back and watch the replay because we had some fun on this one. Take care, guys. And as always, if you need to reach out to me, Regie Collects on Instagram and regiecollects@gmail.com.